tureba utunu aha mukuto gwa Tayari West TV ndutwikaho kurugaha Innovation Village hano muri Mbarara rwebikona kandi cyatuyetaha muri izoba no kubasa kubandi turikiriza ebitekateko byabo abari kwenda entebe eyobwa Guild President ahitendekero area Mbarara University of Science and Technology ekinichubaho buri mwaka okwetegereza ebitekateko byabo abutukwasa kuba nituyetekateka kurondamu noha barabase kuba nayebembera abeji ahitendekero niryo rimwe tuzakuba tutambura munonga omurimi orungereza ahabo kuba itendekero ya Mbarara University of Science and Technology inabeji okurugo mu nshonda zone zensi nahabwe echo tuzakuba ntuyetaga ngo buri omwe wena abase kuba naturikiriza nyabura utabasa kuba no rugaho. Thank you very much, you who is watching us live on Creative Digital Media, the official YouTube channel for the Mbarara University of Science and Technology, and those joining us through Tayari West or on StarTimes, Zuku, and also Afro Mobile. I welcome you to the 2026 Must Guild Presidential Debate. We will be able to start it with a few anthems, and later we kick in just like that. The Must Anthem. Everyone else, please, I will request that you stand up in honor of the mighty university. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. May we have our seats. And in that very orderly silence, allow us to talk to God first. Almighty God, thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you for gracing this occasion and allowing us to gather here to listen from the leaders. We understand that leadership comes from God. May we ignore the faults in the messengers that we will have here and embrace the message that they will be putting across the mass community. I pray and believe in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you very much. We already lost some time, and so you will allow me start it off by welcoming the chairperson Electoral Commission for the Must Guild, who will use at least 2 minutes, talk to us about the process but also about the debate. And just slightly after that, we dive into the debate as planned. Ladies and gentlemen, Comrade Elvis.
Thank you so much, moderator. Members of the Electoral Commission, our dear Guild President candidates, the mass fraternity, both are in attendance today and also following us online, and the entire viewers and the nation at large. Good afternoon. My name is Elvis Aibade. I'm doing medicine and surgery in my 5th year. I am the Guild Speaker from Bara University of Science and Technology. But most relevantly today, I am the Chairperson for Electoral Commission 2026. Allow me appreciate the Commission and the entire mass fraternity for the far we've come from the start of this electoral process. And most importantly, say that we've moved quite a mileage on our roadmap, and it is an honor to read to you that it's been largely a success, and thanks to your efforts. I would like to, in a special way, extend my deepest congratulations to the Guild candidates for not just presenting themselves up to the task of serving the mass fraternity, but also satisfactorily meeting the constitutional requirements and therefore being the duly nominated Guild presidential candidates. I think that deserves a hand clap to them. Of course, I also want to extend our appreciation to the partners, Creative Media, Mr. Sankara, who is our alumnus at MUST, and interestingly, a former Guild aspirant. I'm sure today must be a deja vu to him, and I'm quite sure that there could be no better person to handle the task. As we know, Bara University is a leading institution in science and technology, a higher institution of learning, so therefore we expect an equally higher level of intellectual abilities in our leaders. So avenues like today, presidential debates, give the contestants the chance to sell their ideologies to the candidates and the entire mass fraternity, but also to our dear voters and the mass fraternity to sieve and see who is best fit to give the prestigious mandate of serving the entire mass fraternity as our Guild president. So I would therefore want to encourage our Guild aspirants to use this platform and freely express themselves, sell their best, and use that to portray the values and demonstrate the decorum that is synonymous with Bara University of Science and Technology. From the Commission side, we've moved, as already said, quite a mileage on our roadmap coverage, and congratulations to the far we've come. I want us to remind ourselves of the upcoming events that will lead to having one of the two nominated candidates sitting in office. So today we have a Guild presidential debate, and tomorrow, which will be 20th of April, we have nomination for Guild and Deputy Speaker and the executive from the Sports Union. But then on Tuesday, which will be 21st, shall have another Guild presidential hot seat. We are having these avenues to give mass fraternity an opportunity to vet and choose the best leader capable for that office. Continuing forward, we shall vote for the Sports Union executive on 22nd of April, and then have an opportunity to have open air campaigns on the eve of voting. And then they'll furthermore sell their ideas to candidates, and then have the D-Day on 24th, which will be this Friday, so that we shall come cast our vote. I want to use this platform to call upon the entire fraternity of Bara University to turn up and vote for their best candidate of choice. The Commission has ground rules, regulations that are best known, I believe, to our candidates. And it is my humble appeal to them that we can uphold all these regulations so that we have not just a violent free election, but have a peaceful, free and fair electoral process. I would like to, with those few remarks, declare this debate officially open and have our candidates say their manifesto to the entire fraternity and our viewers. I thank you so much for coming and wish you quite a successful debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, if it was London, we should be clapping for the gentleman. Thank you. And now is the moment that we've all been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be welcoming our candidates to settle in for the debate. We shared earlier the debate guidelines, and we believe that candidates had some time to share them with their supporters. And so you'll allow me, I am not going to do the introductions of the concerts. Otherwise then, for a candidate like Comrade Conrad that has endorsed by God, I would stand. Now, that is violation of rule number 1 of this debate. We expect to accord the best time to the candidates. But I was saying, if I was to rhyme, in the lane of concerts, I would start with what he wanted to listen to and what he wishes anyone would, kind of introduce him with. And from the biblical side, anyone would start by saying that for God so loved must, that he sent his only begotten and whatever and whatever and whatever. But ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to do that. Allow me introduce our first candidate for this session. He's a student, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical and Industrial Engineering, independent candidate. He's been the 37th GRC Mechanical Engineering. He was also the first president for the Association of Mechanical Engineering at MUST. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome, for the green side, Comrade Tinomugisha Conrad Jagaban. Thank you very much. You're very much welcome. Yellow is certainly definitely must be allergic to yellow at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, in the yellow seat, we welcome a student of Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, third year student. He is a flag bearer of the NRM, the National Resistance Movement in this race, and also has served as speaker for Africa Kwetu Students Association, MUST chapter. He has also served in the GRC House as the GRC Mile 3 constituency. He has also ably served as the Deputy Prime Minister in that was in the 37th Guild House. He's also a country representative. He's also a country representative, Rolls SDG Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome our Comrade Arimpa Kenneth. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. You who is watching us live on the official YouTube channel of the university, and also those watching us through Tayari West TV, I would like to inform you and remind you that on this floor we will be able to go through a few questions that will be posed to the guild candidates. These questions are not meant to test who is the best speaker that we have, but also to test the vision, the realism, the knowledge of the campus realities, the integrity that the leaders present, the inclusiveness, and the leadership maturity that any of these candidates present. The questions that will be coming through are intentionally framed to move candidates from away from slogans and, drive them toward measurable commitments, credible execution, and also respectful engagement. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's at this moment that we will be able to switch and get into the format of the debate. Again, we are eagles at mast, and we are the kings of every other bird that flies in the air. What that means is that we select leaders from credibility and ideas that they share. Thank you. Thank you. What that also means is that for a debate, Mbarara University of Science and Technology students cannot behave just like any other university student. And so we pay respect and give audience to the candidates from which we are going to be able to listen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a very brief session because we already have time wasted. We will have candidates first of all introduce themselves, and we'll have an opportunity to understand who they are. We will then they will then use the same opportunity to offer what we call opening statements on their end. In those minutes, we expect them to also, tell us the most, what tops their agenda. We will also later hear from their knowledge of leadership philosophy. What philosophy, for instance, guides them. We'll also hear from, under philosophy, we are also going to test their values, what they believe in, the leadership style, and also their readiness to serve. We will then later switch to the most important part of the debate, the must agenda, where we listen from them about student welfare, academics, accountability, inclusion, innovation, and opportunity. We'll then put their manifesto to credibility test. And so we will want to hear from them their first 100 days and feasibility. After that segment, we are going to have a crossfire round. This round will allow candidates to ask each other direct questions. These questions must be issue-based and not personal. After that, we are going to have the students' voice, which we want to give them most, time, where students will ask questions to these two candidates. And after that, as we close, we'll have a rapid-fire round where a candidate only has just 30 seconds to respond to a very, very brief question. So, ladies and gentlemen, after that, we should be able to close our debate, and as we wait for the hot seat later to further understand what they have in for us. So, without much ado, you will allow me also assume my seat, and we will hear from the first candidate, especially on the opening statements from their end. Ladies and gentlemen, within no particular order or predetermined order, the two candidates, while they talk to us with their, opening statements, will tell us why they are asking MUST community to trust them with the highest office of the student leadership. They will also tell us the problem at task that they intend to solve, but also the kind of leadership that they represent and why their presidency will leave MUST not the same. Ladies and gentlemen, from the yellow seat, allow us to first hear from his candidate. So we are going to honestly limit that, okay? Join me to welcome candidate Arimpa Kenneth for that very one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Modulator. You will allow me to associate myself with the already established protocol, both online and physical attendance. My name is Kenneth Arimpa. I am a third-year student pursuing my bachelor's degree of science in civil engineering. I am someone who's so passionate about leadership, and I've served the MUST community before, where I have led the MUST chapter, especially the Africa Kwetu Students Association, where I've served as speaker, an association where I also happen to be one of the co-founders, aiming at integrating Africa starting from the students' body. I have also served as GRC Mile 3 in the 37th Guild House, where I also happen to double as the Deputy Prime Minister of the same Guild House. My leadership has not been mainly based on the Guild House, but I've also gone ahead to serve at international levels, where I also happen to be a country representative of that is the Sustainable Development Goals Academy, whose mission is to provide accessible education so that the youth become leaders, innovators, and policymakers. Gallant Mastelians, this has really
It's another request, ladies and gentlemen, before anything goes harsh, please, let's accord the candidates the time that they deserve.
Gallant Mastelians, this has set a very good track record of leadership of me, and it is therefore my humble request, with all this said, that I believe I'm the suitable candidate for the race. Gallant Mastelians, this presentation is not just another manifesto, but this is a commitment to restore dignity, fairness, and opportunity to every student, whether you study from Chihumro or City Campus or Jinja or Mlago campuses. In general, the MUST fraternity. For too long, we have adapted to problems instead of solving them. For too long, we have normalized inconvenience and silence and delayed action. Gallant Mastelians, I want to call to your attention that this stopped with my leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, candidate Arimpa Kenneth. Let's hear from candidate Conrad. Please. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Let's hear from candidate Conrad. Please, your time starts now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sankara, moderator. Good afternoon, gallant Masterians. Introductions to Inumcha Conrad is my name. And I'm a student in my third year pursuing a Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical and Industrial Engineering. For one, I believe I have been a leader. For starters, I have always led mechanical engineering as the GRC in the last regime. And to overcome the first step of my test of leadership, I have achieved to register our Association of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering. Thank you very much for that. I believe I'm here to serve must because I have.
Thank you.
I believe I'm here to serve must because I have a solution-based agenda driven by students' advocacy. To start off, I want to hit up on the major points of my manifesto. Point number one, I will drive to welfare. I don't want us to beat around the bush. Welfare, I want us to talk about welfare. Welfare is concerned of this following: food, water, electricity, health, and security. To start off from the very first point.
Conrad, I could be able maybe to guide. We will have an opportunity to go into, the accent. So, opening statements, yes.
Yes, we will have an opportunity to go deeper. But it doesn't stop me to guide the House that we are here. We are here to discuss student issues. We are here to discuss student issues, not an issue. Welfare is an issue for the students. That is my highlight number one. I will tackle financial oversight, that is accountability. I will tackle our disability inclusion. I will tackle, and most importantly, our academy at Mara University of Science and Technology.
Okay.
I believe I'm here to lead Mara University of Science and Technology because I believe I am a good candidate with a solution-based agenda driven by students' advocacy.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will thank you. Sorry about that, you who is watching us live on Tayari West TV, but also the official YouTube channel of the university. We will be able to cross to the next segment, and I can assure you who is watching us live, that the noise that we will have in the background has nothing to do with you who is following us online, and therefore we should be able to proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be forced to pause the debate and have everyone else outside. Please. So this one here is the very last warning. Mbarara University of Science and Technology, whatever you're portraying outside there is definitely not the best. Like we told you, we are not just live on YouTube, we are live on a national TV. And so, ladies and gentlemen, allow us now to switch to the next segment. In this segment, we are testing the leadership philosophy and also the readiness of the people of these two candidates. They tell us what actually their philosophy is and how their leadership style actually impacts the community. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow us to now again listen from Comrade Arimpa Kenneth, and both of them will tell us, for instance, candidates, you have a question. What is your philosophy of student leadership, and how would that actually influence the way you handle the pressure, criticism, and also the conflict? But while you answer that, please also help us. While you answer that, help us tackle these two areas. One, both of you have been in leadership. What have you achieved for the mass community? What have you achieved for the mass community? But also, what could have been your weakness and how are you prepared to actually go for it? Thank you very much. Comrade Arimpa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. About my philosophy for mass students, we must succeed as a whole. Must we succeed? Yes, we must succeed, but how is the main question in this matter. Mr. Moderator, this philosophy is mainly directed to my manifesto. I'm sorry if I run more into my manifesto. About the question of must we succeed and how. We have for long failed to graduate. We have for long failed to access quality health care. We have for long failed in terms of low voter turnout. We have for long had limited internship slots for our skills. Mr. Moderator, it's on this point, therefore, that I would like to inform gallant Masterians that with this philosophy that we're bringing on board, we shall be able to advocate for examination policy. We shall be able to advocate for supplementary examinations.
May we
that if
observe
I'm in my
maximum
final year,
silence, please.
Such that if I'm in my final year, final semester, I'll be able to apply for supplementary. I'll be able to graduate with my fellow students. Then about access to quality health care, I believe that as a guild president, just an ID is enough recognition to access the basic medical services at our partner as the referral hospital.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Then about the question, how will I be able to handle the pressure and conflict? I believe
Candidate Kenneth, you can proceed. The online platform is actually following you loud and clear.
I view the guild president as someone who bridges the gap between administration and the student's body. But I view the guild president as someone who is not a wall between the student's body and the administration. And therefore, I believe that I should front students' interests, however much I shouldn't front interests of emotions, where students feel like they think something is good and it is against the administration, then I don't second that.
Thank
About
you.
what I have achieved so far,
Thank you. Thank you.
about what
Kenneth.
I have achieved so far, in my representative capacity as a Deputy Prime Minister in this guild house, we were able to raise a concern about the guild drone,
Okay.
which is so far being worked on. And I believe that with the administration, the guild drone will be availed. And this will help to solve the transport problem of the students, especially the Chumrot students. And during my tenure of service at GRC Mile 3, I have been able to get in partnership with one of our leaders that were contesting by then, and they were able to provide security lights in dark corners of reduced, and this really reduced cases of security. And I believe that with that achievement, I'm right for the seat. Then about the weaknesses. Then lastly, Mr.
Thank you.
Moderator, you asked about the weakness of me as a student. I don't believe that in my leadership, whether as a student or as a student leader, I've had any weakness, and I believe I can really carry on this mantle. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have to assure you of one thing, comrades in the house, that while we have thousands of people following us live, the sound that they are picking is loud and clear, whether you make noise 1,000 times. And therefore, if the candidate continues to speak, definitely he's delivering his point. You're not deterring anything. What I want you to sober up about is the fact that at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, we uphold inclusivity, and we have people that have disability, at least with hearing, and which is why we set up and had, a sign language interpreter. When you make your noise, you interrupt her, and she cannot listen to the candidate to interpret to our fellows. So if you're indeed from Mbarara University of Science and Technology, observe maximum respect for candidates. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, please, we are awarding the next 8 minutes hearing from Comrade Conrad. Thank you very much. Please continue.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes.
Mr. Moderator, I would start from my school of understanding from leadership philosophy. For leadership philosophy, I will talk about values. Values, and for the values, we have integrity, we have accountability, we have inclusivity, we have service. How do I intend to achieve this? Integrity. For the part of integrity, that is loyal to terms and conditions of the Constitution of Mbarara University of Science and Technology. For the issue of accountability, I subscribe to leadership that is inclusive of the students that are the co-founders of the Mbarara University of Science and Technology Students Guild. On the issue of accountability, I subscribe to the back-to-back reports that are given back to the students and clear reforms of the policies that affect students' accountability. In terms of service, I subscribe to free and fair service from a guild president who knows what they are doing, and they are not only doing decisiveness, but consultativeness. In approach to leadership, I subscribe to transformative. I subscribe to transformative leadership and servant leadership. I subscribe to transformative leadership because I believe we are taught to learn how to learn. We are supposed to learn that things can change, dynamics can change, we can wake up tomorrow and the situation is very different. That is what I subscribe to. In terms of servant leadership, I subscribe to a leader who is wholeheartedly serving his population in terms of availability. You know, we are tired of this one thing. A guild president is voted in power, and all of a sudden they are nowhere to be seen at campus. I subscribe to a servant leadership. I want the guild president to be the one to work for the students, not the students working for the students' guild. Because the number one fund I subscribe to a consultative leadership. By this I mean, not only the guild president is supposed to decide for the students, but the GRCs, the GRC secretaries, and the cabinet ministers. Then on top of it all, on the representation, on the top university councils and senate, I subscribe to decisiveness.
Comrade Conrad, you have only 2 minutes left, and I would request that you take that time telling us your achievements as a leader.
Thank you so much. Thank you. To list my achievements, the reason as to why I do not like fronting my achievements is one. We are here to lead Mara University of Science and Technology, not because of our past, but because of our present. But irrespective of that, as the GRC Mechanical Engineering, in the 37th Guild House, I was able to lobby and get for us the president. I was able to lobby and get for us the Association of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering. And point number 2, most importantly, in the house, I was able to lobby for us in the place where I stay, and I secured for us a constituency of Ruharo Chianja. The students of Ruharo Chianja, right now, they have where to stay, they have a constituency, they are represented in the MUST Guild. Thank you so much, moderator. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Candidate Conrad, you who is watching us live, we are still coming to you live from the Innovation Village here in Webikona, Mbarara, and we are at the Guild Presidential Debate of Mbarara University of Science and Technology 2026. It's an opportunity for us to hear and have, an opportunity to learn what they are actually planning to do for the student community of MUST. Yomurebi witu murungi aha tayari West tukugambira ngo well siyon tuija ahariwe abutunu kuruga hanu ahari Innovation Village kurugira kimwe hano mu Rwebikona Mbarara twine abo abesimbira ha entebe eyo kuba guild president witende chereri yambara University of Science and Technology tujo twisene tugezeho kureba bitekateko byabo nebiba kwiseba abari ku planninga ninge bibatebekanisize ko rabeji abitende chereri ntija kubantuza omu segment endijo eitwa yeta welfare okwetegereza kurungi yaba bine ekibetebekanisize kukorera abeji bitende chereri ombekwatirine no kwentura yabo kutambura aha itende chereri yambara University of Science and Technology kokuna nabagambire nza kutambura mnonga omu rurimi orungereza ahabo kugira ngo itende chereri rine abejo kurwo mu nshonda zona ezensi omunsi zitari zimwe na zimwe. So ladies and gentlemen, we are switching to the most important segment of this, and we will be talking welfare, what they have in their plans for us when it comes to welfare. So our dear candidates, this is the question. You win, you're the president, you're the next guild president. While you're working at Chihumuro, a rowdy student shouts at you and says, "Tuabakowa namwe." Instead of making it Mbara University of Science and Technology, you have made it Mbara University of Stress and Torture. How do you interpret that statement? And what do you have in your plan for the student welfare? We will only use 5 minutes to dissect all this, and I will start with you, candidate Conrad. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question, moderator. To start off with addressing the question,
yes,
the student is very correct. To some extent, they are supposed to be tired of the guild house. Because to what extent has the guild house advocated for these students? The students must be tired, isn't it? They must be tired of the silence that is treated to their questions that they subscribe and put in front. Isn't it? The must student is right, but however, this is how I address this student. I would comfort this student by telling them that I am here with students' advocacy.
Tell us about that advocacy. Tell us exactly
Students'
what you will
advocacy
do. Yes.
is majorly, I'm here to empower that student to speak up, come out, and be heard in the guild house. They are going to be heard in the following ways. How about we add their GRCs and their GRC secretaries energy? How about we give them more vibrancy in the house to address their own issues? How about we give the students the mandate to audit their own guild house? Let's give them power. This is a very feasible idea because of this. The Must Student Guild Constitution in 2023, isn't it? Under the right legal procedures, this is a simple and feasible solution.
Tell us the how.
Yeah, I'm still telling you the how.
Okay.
This comes in. Yes. The students are going to be directly involved in accountability of the guild house. This is how. The timely reports, the weekly reports, the timely reports are going to be addressed to students. Students are going to know how the guild is budgeting the finance and the priorities that are being taken and the money that is being given to those priorities. The students are going to know how and why they are benefiting from these activities. Because I believe I'm expounding the how, because by this the student will be able to know how a student, why do they pay their guild fees, isn't it? Where has their guild fee gone? How has it been monitored? That is by knowing that the guild house has taken decisions that are in their favor.
Okay.
I believe if they can hold the guild accountable, that means everything will be in the students' favor.
Comrade Conrad,
Yes.
are you saying that the most pressing welfare issue here is representation?
Yes. It is
Okay.
representation.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, you who's watching us live on Creative Digital Media on YouTube, and also on the official university channel, Barara University of Science and Technology University channel, but most importantly, you who is actually following us live on Tayari West TV. Again, we are midway in the Guild presidential debate for the Barara University of Science and Technology. Candidate, thank you very much. Candidate Kenneth, please, you could be able to take the floor and tell us about what you have for the welfare side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just proceed,
so
yes.
much,
Thank you.
Mr. Modulator. About the question asked at hand, I am someone who believes in intellectual friction, but emotional cohesion is key. Maybe, who knows,
just proceed,
who
really.
knows, maybe this student has been praised by health issues which have constantly been not advocated for. Maybe this student has had a lot of pressing issues in regards to drastic increment in rent. Maybe this student has had a drastic increment in rent which has not been advocated for. Maybe this student has constantly fallen sick and has not been listened to. Maybe this student has had a taste of poor leadership.
Okay.
For example, for the previous guilds, they have failed to really advocate for inclusion of these students in decision making. Therefore, according to the question that you've asked, many agendas come here and are always pushed every now and then. We have had agendas that do not support the student's body. But with the agenda that we are pushing of the real solutions, not just stories. We are not here to narrate stories. We are here to bridge the gaps between administration and the student's body. And not to second students' emotions, but rather to second inclusion of both parties. Therefore, Mr. Modulator, with the slogan that I'm bringing on board, with the agenda, the real solutions agenda that we are bringing on board, we shall
Thank you.
we are making sure that this student is heard, especially this student graduates. Even if the student gets a retake in the final semester of their final year, they'll be able to graduate after our advocacy for supplementary examinations. Then these students will be able to get enough medical care with just recognition of the student's ID. These students will be able to get enough internship placements with our advocacy for internship placements in public institutions. These students, finally, these students will be allowed to sit for 100% of their examinations, regardless of the little 70% that they would have cleared in the semester.
Thank you.
And this, I want to assure you that you will not hear this anywhere around campus premises. Thank
Okay.
you very much, Mr. Modulator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, candidate Kenneth Arimpa there. You is watching us live. I again implore you to continue watching, but also start preparing questions that you might have for any of these candidates, because after that, we will have an opportunity to have them, answer a number of questions here and there from the students community, but also from the mass community entirely. And just like I said already, we will have a few more segments before we can get to that. Right about now, the next segment will already test the candidates' level of inclusivity, equity, and also representation. So we want to hear from them what they have in terms of being inclusive. And so, dear candidates, thank you, ladies and gentlemen in the house. We need to proceed. Candidates, just assure me you can hear me for this question. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, we have people following us live, and they have no business with your noise, please. So please, I request, we are switching to the next segment. And the next segment that we are going to be able to, please, the next segment that we are diving into is to test the inclusivity of our candidates. Candidates, we understand that we, at Mara University of Science and Technology, we have students from different walks of life. For instance, what concrete disability inclusion commitments, for instance, would you want to make? And how would students measure whether you have actually delivered on your inclusive problem? So, as you approach this, please, assure us, are you sure that Mbarara University of Science and Technology has any challenge that we meet, that we can categorize as inclusive? Do we have any inclusive problem at MUST? And if it's there, how are you actually prepared to solve that? Comrade Arimpa, you go first. Thank you. Please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Modulator. About the question that has been raised about inclusivity, equity, and representation, I'll first deal with equity. In the resolutions agenda that we are pushing, we have constantly had low voter turnout,
okay,
in all guild presidential elections, where I feel some students have been neglected, especially our postgraduate students, especially the upper grading students, especially the external campuses students. And I believe that we are advocating about equity. We are advocating for online voting. And this is a legacy that we want to live as the 38th Guild government under my leadership, that we shall live the online voting, and every student will be included in this. Then about representation.
Yes.
About representation, I believe under my leadership, we shall be able to represent every student's interests, especially starting from the associations level to the guild level. And how? We are advocating for funding of academic institutions, the CPF, and then the cultural institutions. With the cultural institutions, I believe that every culture will be having a fund under the guild that will be helping them to run their daily activities. Then about the inclusivity bit of the question, I believe that this has so far been achieved under my leadership, under my representative capacity as the Deputy Prime Minister, where we've included almost everyone, including the PWDs on the cabinet. It's so uncertain that this time round there is no representation of the PWDs, especially the GRC. It is an empty seat. But I believe that under my leadership, I'll be able to empower all these people, all these the people with disabilities, and they'll also feel represented in this 38th Guild government. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from candidate Conrad. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, moderator. I would not like to start by refuting, but I believe the question was about disability inclusion. Disability inclusion, we have the policy. We have the policy at MUST. It is in action. We have had the inclusivity in the building. We can see the ramp access, and we can see that we always have the inclusivity in our lectures.
Okay.
That is where they sit, and even in the places of convenience.
Okay.
But this is what I'm going for. Empathy over sympathy. I'm going for empathy over sympathy. Why can't we look at making these people comfortable instead of making them feel like we are sorry for them every time? Isn't it? These are the PWDs. We shouldn't make them feel like we are sorry for them, but we should make them feel like they belong among us. My second point about disability inclusion is equality versus equity, isn't it? Equity and equality, they are different. Because we are having scholarships for the PWDs at MUBS. Why can't we bring them at Mbarara University of Science and Technology? Then more so, I would hint on these following points. Strict enforcement. Let us enforce how we can accommodate the PWDs in our community. Training. Let us train each other. Let us train the student community to be accommodative to everyone, including the disabilities, including the people with disabilities.
Okay.
And then academics. We have always seen that on UNEB, these people added more minutes, isn't it? At UNEB, these people added more minutes, isn't it?
Please
But
proceed.
why can't we add them more minutes in their examination? Why can't we always add them more time in the paper? Isn't it?
Thank you.
Then accommodation, where they stay. Why can't we make sure that it is very comfortable for them, irrespective of their problems with disabilities? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Quite mature points coming through there, and I believe you who is watching us live, you must be really noticing that the race is actually not, for an ordinary student. We believe that candidates should be able to, articulate a number of issues. And inclusivity, of course, comes at, at the forefront, because at the end of the day, we want everyone to feel and also be involved at the end of the day. And inclusivity, of course, becomes a very important point there. We will be able to proceed to the next segment. We will be able to proceed to the next segment. And this very one, we will talk about innovation. careers and also the future of mass students. But most importantly, innovation. So, most importantly, we want to hear from you about your agenda on how you will champion innovation. So the question to you candidates is one. Please. The question to our candidates, we are now at the segment of innovation. And so the question goes, what tops your agenda regarding championing an innovative student community at MUST? We will be able to hear from you, Comrade Arimpa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator.
Yes.
About how our agenda is championing innovation, we are planning on having our BSAL students have been given a new faculty, which is the Faculty of Agriculture. And under our leadership, we plan on having an innovation hub. We have had the Center for Innovation Technology at Chuhumro campus. And I believe that with this innovation hub, we shall be able to have a few adjustments in we shall be able to have these BSAL students do their innovative researches in their innovation hub, especially at their new faculty that will be given to them. Then about career growth, Mr. Modulator, I do civil engineering, but immediately after graduation, we are required to have extra skills which are not offered here at Mbara University of Science and Technology. For example, one of the requirements of a civil engineer is always to have maybe, say, driving skills if the job offers a car. So how are we intervening in this? We are saying that with this real solutions agenda, why can't we partner with these organizations, with these government public institutions out there, such that they give us internship slots, such that they aid in skilling these students, and by the time of graduation, you have extra skills, like the soap making skills, baking skills, and for the gents, you can also have driving skills. Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator.
Thank you. Slightly before you go, let's take us through an occasion. Take us through an occasion that you recently witnessed at MUST, in which MUST students took part in an innovation competition. They won, and what that means to you, how it was handled, and how you intend to handle it different in your regime. I don't know if did you get the question? Okay. Please, ladies and gentlemen, we will need to allow the candidates to hear the questions. Okay. So the question is around innovations around MUST. And I was asking, as the Deputy Prime Minister, you've been there, could you have had an opportunity of witnessing MUST students go for a competition and win it? Do you feel the Guild did enough in that occasion? But also, how will it be in your regime?
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator. About the question at hand, I thank you very much for that insightful question. The question at hand is about innovation. And maybe to first correct you, Mr. Modulator, as the Deputy Prime Minister, my role has been basically to deputize someone, and I have not had to do direct decisions as a person. However, answering to your question, Mr. Modulator, we have held an innovation week at Chihumuro campus where students come through to showcase their different innovative challenges. They come through to showcase their different innovative ideas, and at the end of the day we weigh the options and reward the winner. We have held a petrol ball which has been international, and our campus, the petroleum students, won the mantle. And maybe to clarify on that, under my leadership as the 38th Guild President, I would not want the Innovation Week to be just at Chihumuro campus, but inter-university, at MUST as a whole, and inter-university challenge, innovation challenge. We will have it at Chihumuro, at faculties of business. They come up with innovative ideas, faculties like medicine, and the innovation hub that we are planning on having at the Faculty of Agriculture. So we shall have this as MUST as a whole, not just for Chihumuro students, not just for agriculture students. Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator.
Thank you very much, Comrade Arimpa. Kenneth, if you would have your seat. Let's hear from Comrade Konmu.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. To start off about innovation.
Yes.
Mbara University of Science and Technology. To start off, Mbara University of Science and Technology,
yes, please,
has introduced MUST Holding Club.
Thank you.
This has been introduced to help fund our projects as students. But this is not being exploited because of the poor leadership and the students' advocacy that I'm continuously hinting about. Isn't it? Point number 2 on innovation. We know there is funding. Yes, we know and we acknowledge for the Faculty of Applied Sciences and Technology in particular, there is funding in CITT. Yes, we acknowledge that. But this funding is only enough for a student to bring up a prototype. It is not enough for a student to bring a project to life. Isn't it? That is for the Faculty of Applied Sciences and Technology. Then to our medicine faculty, the money for research. We all know that Makerere University receives over 20 billion for research. This is a fact. And MUST receives close to 1 billion money for research. If we could add money for research to our students, they would actually bring their projects to life. Thank you so much. That's my submission about innovation.
Thank you. Before you go, could there be, ladies and gentlemen, please accord him some audience. Could there be, as a guild president, could there be a policy that you're willing to advocate for that will actually champion innovation spirit among MUST students? Did you get that? Okay, please, take it on.
A policy that I can champion,
yes,
to improve innovation is through our graduate training director, that is Associate Professor Vincent. We can look through for more engagement in CITT and more innovation hubs, and bringing their projects to life. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Please have your seat. Thank you very much. Who is watching us live again on Tayari West? We are coming to you live from the Innovation Village here, and this is the 2026 Guild Presidential Debate for Mbara University of Science and Technology. I am Sankara Berhanga, and this actually happens every other year. And the opportunity is to give the master opportunity to have a chance to also vet before they actually cast their votes and also select the leader that will take over the next the guild presidency, the next guild presidency of the same institution. As I said, please prepare your questions, and we are about to get to the segment where we listen from you as students and also master community. And so we will be switching to another segment. Sorry about that. We will be switching to another segment, and I just want to be sure that the candidates are able to hear my questions slightly before. And there is, of course, some scuffle, of course, happening, just like expected from university politics, but also politics of the young people. And you want to have, that settled down before we could be able to proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, please. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, do you really want us to go without the audience? Ladies and gentlemen, you who is watching us live, I am going to request for the next 5 minutes to have this break. And unfortunately, we are going to proceed without the audience in the room. Please. very much who is still watching us live on Tayari West. Tukutangira mnonga kandi tukutabarusya again okurugo mukahumura ako kace akutabasa kuba tugiraho tukiri butunu twija tukikaho butunu kuruga hari Innovation Village hano muri Webikona Mbarara kandi tugumiza mu na hana ebitekateko kandi hamwe na kiba kweta debate hano hari Mbarara University of Science and Technology turi kugezaho kutorana umwebembezi wabeji ahitendekero ndiyomwe akanakagisha akuba kushira kukozesa kureba yaba beji barabase kuba nibaronda mu barabase kwa nabebembera nohogwa inebitekateko ebiri kubombeka nebyo birabase kuba nibibatwara umwidare rindi nahabwo eco ija kwa nibashaba ngo mutwikirize ko kunanagambere tugumize mu umurimi rwito rungereza ko kunanabacoborire itendekero ryine abeji okuruga umunshonda zone zensi nahabwo eco za kwantukozesa urungereza kurebeka ngo buryomwe yabasa kuba nabyetegereza. Thank you very much who is watching us live also on the official YouTube channel for the Mbarara University of Science and Technology. Sorry about the disruptions that we could be able to get, but that is really inevitable, and I can assure you that right about now we should be able to flow interruption free, but also an opportunity to clearly hear out the candidates in their capacity. And the next segment that we are bound to is governance, accountability, and credibility test. And in this, basically, we want to hear out their most pressing issue and what tops their agenda in the first 100 days. We will have some follow-up questions for each of them after they have presented to us their mandate. Candidates, it's at this time that you tell us what exactly tops your agenda. Usually, people want to concentrate on those in their first 100 days. You win, and what will you do in your first 100 days? We will go first. We'll hear from Comrade Conrad. Thank you.
Thank you so much, moderator, for that question. And to start off with, this is the theme of my candidature, solution-based agenda for students' advocacy. However, it comes in under, and it is an overall oversight, but to start off with, you talked about something that you want me to hint on much in my regime. This is accountability. Gallant Masterians and everyone looking at us out there. We all know, or I bring it to the information to some of you, that in the last guild house, the 37th guild house, over 300 million was used in their so-called guild activities. Does any of you out there know what were our spending priorities? Do you know what their spending priorities were? And how much did they spend on these priorities? Because there is not a single day a guild president of the last house and the minister in charge of finance came out to clarify to the students on how this money was spent. Because we all know this money belongs to the students. This is my solution in the first 100 days of my service. Clear and timely financial updates. Why can't this be presented to students? Why can't there be a feedback mechanism to guide the spending priorities of the guild house? Why can't the funds be directed towards the very high impact student programs? Why can't this money be directed towards the programs that affect students? We all know that the theme of the guild of late is always Freshers' Ball. But after Freshers' Ball, what other event do we get that engages students and gives back to students what they give to the guild?
Comrade, I request to, in the interest of time, because of the time we lost, we can really try to squeeze in. So if you could be able to summarize in the next 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My other point is on welfare. We all know that water and electricity has been an issue, and this is under the Estates Committee headed by Engineer Kagoro Asimwe. This is the person who is supposed to give us timely reports on why people are facing issues with water consistently. Why are we having issues with electricity? Is it because of the grid line? Because of what? Food, health, and our security under the Dean's office. The Dean's office is supposed to come out and tell us why we have one service provider across the two campuses. Why are we being inconvenienced to convene at one food point, that is CPAS for town campus, and only one food point, that is CPAS at Chihumuro, because the other food point is far away in the residential areas, and quality and quantity is no longer a question there.
How are you going to do that?
This is how I'm going to tackle that issue. We are not calling for free food. We do not want free food, but we want the service providers. Can't we bring in more service providers that can serve the student community? Because I believe what we have is space. Yes, we have issues of space here and there, but we cannot fail to get space for the students' cafeteria, and students get access to food conveniently without walking distances.
Is that like something you're proposing the guild could run, or you're proposing the guild could advocate for a better service provider?
Exactly.
Would you run, for instance, a guild canteen, or you're proposing a Sankara who comes in and sets up,
I'm proposing a Sankara who comes in as a service provider, so that students have options. They are not limited to one option, that this is what they have to go for, do or die. No. Why can't we give them options to choose what is best for them? Okay,
you can summarize in 1 minute, comrade.
Then I would summarize about academia. However much we at Mbara University of Science and Technology to learn to be productive and good citizens of this country, we are here and we are career oriented. And I would start off by addressing the issue of internships that we are facing. I know it goes down to faculty levels, but this is a step-by-step conversation that we can start and we achieve as the Guild House of 2026-2027.
Okay. Thank you very much. I had promised that under this very segment, we will have a few follow-up questions, and you could be able to see some of those coming through. And I believe we should be able to now hear from candidate Arimpa Kenneth. Thank you. You who is watching us live, we are still on the Guild presidential debate for Mbara University of Science and Technology.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator. Yes. First of all, I would like to educate my comrade that it was not over 300 million that was spent, but 185 million was spent, and a budget was presented to the House. Hopefully, you get that. About what tops my agenda, we are pushing a real solutions agenda. And maybe to answer about accountability first things first. I'm someone who has tried to advocate for accountability, and in this case, I even reached a point of threatening to withdraw from my topmost position if accountability and transparency wasn't the way I thought it would be in the Guild House. And my comrade can also bear me witness because we served in the same Guild House. Then about what tops my agenda, we are saying that why can't we reform part of these policies? Because what affects students mostly by their emotions it tends to come from these policies. For example, we have for long had students who fail to graduate just for getting a retake in their final semester of their final year. And we are advocating for supplementary examinations, even if it is at a little fee. But if I pay that fee and do that supplementary exam, it would be far much better than repeating a whole year. Then we have access to quality health care. I am advocating for just a student ID being enough recognition of the referral regional hospital to accept these students and offer them the basic of the medical services that they can offer. Then we always have low voter turnout. Sorry to say, yesterday I was campaigning in Jinja, both Jinja and Mlago campuses. But most of these students, they know to vote because they are weekend program students and they study on a Saturday and a Sunday. And if the voting will happen on a Friday. So why can't we advocate? And I'm saying for this 38th Guild government, this is a legacy that I want to leave for my students. So that even if I'm home, I will be able to cast my vote for my candidate. Then we also have a policy of the tuition fees policy, which has constantly affected the mass students. And I want to first of all commend the previous guild for advocating for the 80% tuition clearance. So that if I pay 80% of my tuition, I'm able to sit 80% of my examinations and clear up the 20% by the end of my examination period. But I'm saying, what more can I do to this? This is a public institution. I will re-echo this, that this is a public institution and it operates in financial years. If a semester lies wholly in the financial year, why can't we go for as low as 70% tuition clearance and then be able to even sit 100% of my examinations? Then clear up even the 30%, remaining 30% at the beginning of the next semester, because audits have not been made by the government. I believe this will be bridging the gap between we as students and the administration. Then we have the external partnerships that we want to advocate for. For example, we want to include skilling options for these students. For example, the driving skills, soap making skills, such that by the time a student graduates, they have something added to their title. Not this so-and-so is just an engineer or is just a doctor, but he can also run a bakery. We also are advocating for internship placements. And I believe that with my leadership, I'll be able to lobby for as many as I can, more internship placements in these public institutions, which has not been the case in the previous guild.
Okay.
We are also saying that about accommodation and transport, we have a drastic increment in rent in most of the residential places. For example, Mile 3, Mile 4, and Tasso Village. But back in the days, we used to have hostel accreditation, where hostels used to have licenses, and when someone is reporting, they just allocate different people to different hostels. That would solve a problem of increment in rent and even security. So that if I'm caught outside of this premise, then it would be me by my own. But if I'm inside this hostel, then I am inside the premises of the university.
Okay.
I am saying about transport solution. During my tenure of service as the Deputy Prime Minister, I have been able to raise this concern to the House. However much we were advised that we cannot have the university bus again as Chuhumro students, but we raised further a concern of purchasing a guild drone, which will be used to do guild activities, but during the weekdays, it can be used by the Chuhumro students to ease their transport. Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator.
Thank you, comrade. And before you leave, perhaps from from what you shared with us as a, a few follow-up questions for you. In your first 100 days, you're most likely going to also interface with the examinations that are coming, at least before you leave. A number of students are going to miss those exams because of many reasons. One, do you know the reasons that could lead to them, miss out the exams? But also, within your regime, for instance, what then would change to minimize that? And the other one is a follow-up question on the guild van that you just talked about. We understand that there's a lot that is involved, maintenance, the driver, and the likes. Do we have a fiscal kind of plan of the guild that will then make it sustainable? I understand it could make
which is mainly about students missing their examinations. We are not just advocating to reform these policies, but we really understand how these policies work. A student is only, according to the examinations policy,
yes,
a student is only allowed to have special examination if that student, one, falls sick during the examinations period, two, if that student was pregnant and happens to deliver during the examinations period, and three, if that student happens to lose a loved one, and then go further to communicate to the responsible people. Those are the students that are offered special examinations. So for us, the reform that we are bringing on board is not about the special examinations that are talked about in the reform, in the examinations policy. The reform that we are bringing on board is that if I have happened to get a retake in these examinations, they might even give you a special exam and you get a retake in it. So I'm saying, why can't we advocate for supplementary examinations, gallant Masterians, such that we are all able to succeed as a whole?
okay.
Just like my agenda goes real solutions, not just stories. We are not here to narrate stories, but to bring real solutions on board.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah,
Modulator.
let's conclude it with a van question.
Then about the van question, we are looking at this in two ways. Solving the transport issue. One, it won't be free, but it will be at a certain cost. Currently, a student who resides in Chianja uses about 4K to Chihumro and 4K back. That is a total of 8K. And we are saying, if a guild drone is availed, and we can always just contribute maybe 1,000 shillings, just enough to pay the driver and repair services, that would be enough for us to operate this guild drone and maybe have the excess of this money back to the guild account, because we shall have used the guild money to purchase this vehicle. Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator.
Okay, thank you very much, candidate Arimpa Kenneth. And that was around governance, accountability, but also credibility. We needed to hear at least what tops the agenda within the first 100 days. And in the interest of time, we now switch to the segment that I believe should be interesting. This is called Crossfire. And here we hear from candidates asking fellow candidates. And you will have an opportunity to ask any question of your choice to your candidate. I will also have a general question for you in this segment. And I'm sure you will be talking about the other one as you answer that. But first, we need to hear from you asking each other. Wants to go first? Go while he says you can go first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator, for this great opportunity to ask some of the burning questions that I had for my comrade. During comrade's presentation, he has talked about scholarships, having scholarships for people with disabilities at Mbara University of Science and Technology. I would wish to know from him, as a guild president, how do you intend to have this achieved on board? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The Honorable also informed the House that he risked or he hesitated to resign from his position of Deputy Prime Minister because at the time in the regime, he thought accountability were not being held high. But however, we all know that the Honorable retained his position despite the fact that accountability was not held high, because we received at the end of the 37th Guild House, we received a report that was not even signed, and it was drafted in front of the students by the guild president. So I would like to hold a question of etiquette. How can he prove to us that he had threatened to resign because of accountability? Thank you so much. That is my question.
Okay, thank you very much, and we will have Comrade Kenneth go first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator, and thank you very much, my comrade, for such a wonderful question and such an opportunity to educate my comrade and the viewers at large. In the mornings of our regime, things were not going on well, where almost every GRC was seeking accountability and transparency in the regime. I happened to chair meetings on the cabinet as a deputy prime minister, and I chaired a meeting where we passed a budget of the guild. This budget having been passed, there's some amount of money that was allocated to different ministries. However much after passing the budget that was presented to the House was a different budget. And all questions were directed to me as a person who chaired this meeting. What amount of money did you pass in the budget? The amounts that we passed were not the same amounts in the budget that was presented. And this caused resignation of some ministers. For example, the Minister of ICT, he resigned with immediate effect. I was a person who stood bold enough to request for accountability from my bosses. And when this accountability was not delivered to us, I happened to threaten. According to the Students' Guild amended constitution, Article 9, it clearly states that you should release a 7 days notice informing your boss about the reasons that would cause your resignation, which I released as a notice, a 7 days notice, clearly stating all these reasons that might cause my resignation from this position as Deputy Prime Minister. I therefore would wish to educate my comrade that this notice was released in accordance to the Students' Guild amended constitution, and after a meeting being called off by the guild president a cabinet meeting, and all these resolutions made, I was able to retain back my seat as the Deputy Prime Minister, since accountability was now revived. Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator.
Thank you. I had promised that I would also have a question for you about the candidate, if you don't mind, before you sit here. Thank you very much. So, could there be some unrealistic promise you've had from his camp? Could there be some unrealistic promise you've had from his camp, and how would you replace that, like, in your end?
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator. My comrade, Conrad, has promised that he will secure scholarships for people with disabilities, just because he has seen it happen at MOOBS University. And this to me sounds unrealistic.
Okay.
Because in the powers of a guild president, you don't hold any powers of putting scholarship slots for different kinds of people. Thank you very much.
So how would you replace that?
Yes?
How would you replace that?
I would replace that by maybe putting a supplementary fund from the guild. If the money of the guild is allocated, say 200 million, if we can get 50 M of this and have it as a supplementary fund, if these students have reached a point and maybe they have really failed to clear up their tuition, we can have this little amount of money clear up part of these students' tuition, and they will be able to sit for their final examinations rather than promising the students' body things that are unrealistic. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you very
Modulator.
much, candidate Arimpa. Kenneth, very vibrant there. Let's listen from Comrade Conrad.
Thank you very much, moderator. I would start off by expressing my dissatisfaction to the question I posed, because we all know the letter that was airing out the message of the resignation of Honorable Arimpa Kenneth, it had an ultimatum of 7 days. There is no letter that came out telling us that he had been reinstated in his position, isn't it? So I politically take it as a political move, isn't it? Thank you so much. Then, to clarify more about his question, he said I promised to give scholarships to students. I think this is a question of listening now. It comes to listening. Because, Mr. Moderator, my point was equality versus equity. Them getting scholarships for PWDs at MOOBS, and well knowing that MOOBS is a public university, it shows you that that is a line of opportunities. That is a line of opportunity that Mbara University of Science and Technology can tap from.
And so his question is, as a guild president, how are you championing that?
How I'm going to champion this is through the talks, step-by-step talks with the University Council. We can see how to lobby more for more opportunities to favor our disability policy, and to make sure that this policy is more of inclusion, not just a policy there. Why aren't we on ground implementing this policy? That would be a strategy. That would be my strategy number one. And strategy number two, it would be through UNSA, Uganda National Students Association. We can tap very many opportunities from this line through numerous engagements with these people. I cannot stand here and say it can be achieved in my regime, but if we walk the talk, this will be achieved someday, and PWDs will be very comfortable at Mbara University of Science and Technology, because we know this is already in place. We have affirmative action. Affirmative action has been working. Talk about the 1.5 that is added to the ladies. this is a policy that works countrywide. It doesn't select universities. That is why I brought in that. That's what I was explaining. It's a policy that can cover universities, not because of their names, but them being public universities. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, candidate Conrad. He had an opportunity to do, to feel, not, you didn't, is it satisfy for the question, the way you answered your question? Do you think you want an opportunity also to tell us whether you're, satisfied with how he answered or not? The question of scholarships. Okay. Please, you can take on the podium and we cross over. Please, you can prepare, you who is watching us live. We are now crossing. Yes, please, take over and use the opportunity. We are coming to you to get your questions and also the audience, a few questions from students.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator. I would like to, first of all, express my dissatisfaction in the way Conrad has really answered my question. My question was, how will he be able to lobby for these internship, scholarship placements at Barra University of Science and Technology, especially for the PWDs? And his reply to me was through talks, and we really need an action taken by the guild. You, in your powers as a guild president, what will you do? Because talks, at the end of the day we talk, but what matters most is the action. What have you done in your powers as a guild president? Then the next answer was through UNSA, and he did not clarify how UNSA, maybe if there's a policy of UNSA that supports the people with disabilities, how they are represented, and maybe how exactly is he going to get that scholarship placement for Barra University of Science and Technology, especially for the people with disabilities. Thank you very much, Honorable Conrad.
Okay, thank you very much. And yes, he returns for my question in that regard. Could there be an area where you've listened to Comrade Kenneth, and he has a very good program, a very good idea that you may want to incorporate in your manifesto?
Yes, thank you. I don't know if I should start by replying to that question, or
please, under 2 minutes. Yes,
this one. Okay. The point that I liked from Kenneth's manifesto, it would be the guild van, isn't it? But we realized that to inform us as Barra University of Science and Technology, we lost the bus that was taking students to Chihumuro because the government of Uganda sat and decided that as the government, we are not going to fund transport to Chihumuro, isn't it? Because you put there the university knowing that you're going to put their students, so they can cater for their own. I would build on Kenneth's strategy of the guild van by saying, why should we waste the effort buying the van when we can bring in a private entity and they can take over the transportation of students to Chihumuro? So, because this business always fails because there is no job security and unreliability is very high, isn't it? So if a service provider would come in and they have their terms and conditions on table, an MOU is signed, this can be achieved by the students can subscribe an amount to that private offer, and the university can contribute since we also pay functional fees, isn't it?
In that regard, what would be your comment to learn that, in the top 5 universities that we have in Uganda, it is only MUST that has a guild that does not own a van or anything. What do you have to comment about that?
Yeah, I would talk about it like we also need a guild van or a guild car, isn't it? But belongs to the guild. Not like he brought it, a guild van that is serving students. I don't think as a student guild, we shall be able to run the day-to-day expenses of a van on the students' money that they subscribe to us. That is much of a task that you cannot put yourselves up to. Students will come along the way, things are going to come up. Who is going to monitor this van? Its expenses. Then it has maintenance. These are goals that you cannot set. You cannot promise people something that you cannot do. This is practically not possible.
Okay.
You cannot take over. Then,
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you very much. Yeah, a
Let
minute
me
to
borrow your
conclude.
time
Yeah. Mm.
to clarify on his point. He was asking if UNSA has disability inclusion. I think the whole student community knows this.
I think
that-
the question was, how will you utilize UNSA to achieve scholarships for students?
Exactly, exactly. They always have scholarships for disability, for people that are disabled, isn't it? Why can't we be able to tap on the line of opportunities of those scholarships? Because with numerous engagements with the UNSA officials, and well knowing that we have had a former UNSA president from Barra University of Science and Technology, that shows you enough that we have a voice in UNSA. We can also put our demands on table and see what we can scoop for our PWDs.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question for you as well.
Okay, please, shoot.
Mr. Sankara, you have worked with Barra University Students Guild for a while. Why do you think that up to this point, there is no MOU between you and the Students Guild? Because this is something I was hinting up to solve. Why aren't you having it? And are you employing the graduates of Barra University of Science and Technology? That is my question to you. Not like a direct question, but I want you to give us insights.
Are you
on
saying that part of what you're planning to do is have MOUs with a number of private sector
Yes.
organizations?
Yes.
Okay, well, in that regard, no one has actually approached, but also a few times we have approached. By the time the MOU goes through the process of, the university lawyer, the legal office and the likes, by that time, someone is getting off office. But I understand that we have a guild minister in charge of constitutional affairs, and this could be still, handled at the student level. So thank you very much. I think
Thank
I
you.
do not know also
Thank you
if
for
I
that.
answered that very well. But ladies and gentlemen, you is watching us live, it's another important time we've been waiting for. We should be closing by 5, and yet we are 7 minutes past 5. And so we have only 30 minutes left for this engagement, and we're going to use that next 30 minutes to hear from students with questions. We will allow 3 questions in here. 6 questions actually, 3 from each camp. Or what I mean, 3 questions physically here going to one candidate. We will have the questions come at once. Candidates will be given an opportunity to write all those questions, and you will answer at a go. We will also receive 3 questions for each candidate from the online following, and at that you will be able to come through and answer at once. We do that because we are time bad. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin with anyone that has a question. Question number 1 that goes to Comrade Arimpa Kenneth. Okay. You will need to be ready to give. You need to be ready to write your questions as they come through. Okay, please, you can come through to the podium and ask. First question to candidate Arimpa Kenneth from a student. Your names and yeah.
Well, good evening to you all. My name is Ian Aijuka. My year 3, offering a Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery.
A little bit louder. Thank you.
So, My question to Arimpa Kenneth. You've been participating in university politics from day one. As I've been with you on a camp of National Unity Platform, right? And now you are coming in as a candidate of the National Resistance Movement. So my question is, what are your pros and cons of partisan politics in the university? How does it affect the university running, and how does it affect university leadership? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. That's question number 1 for candidate Kenneth. Can we receive question number 2 for candidate Kenneth?
Thank you very much, moderator.
Yes.
My name is Owemba Collins, a student of Pharmacy Year 2, Mara University Science and Technology. My question to our candidate, Kenneth, is on March 27th of 2026, you publicly distanced yourself from endorsing Mr. Bwambale Martin and simultaneously announced your withdrawal from the Guild presidential race in a letter that you posted. Given this sudden shift in both allegiance and candidacy, what concrete assumptions, assurances can you offer the student body that your current position is firm and not another strategic reversal? And then, following the episodes of inconsistency, saying one thing and doing the other, and the political immaturity, should the student body expect a by-election before the end of your tenure? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. That's question number 2 for candidate Kenneth. Let's have the final question for candidate Kenneth.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Kacha Evelyn, a third-year student of Planning and Community Development.
Okay.
Kenneth, how are you going to ensure accountability and transparency? Because all the time you're talking, you talk about the emails which you don't even actually use. Apart from using our emails, how are you going to be accountable for the guild funds? Then the other question goes to you, and it's from the Chumro campus. Excuse me.
Sorry, no. We're accepting 3 questions here and 3 questions online for particular candidates. So if you ask the first question, I would request.
It's 1 question with 2 romans.
No, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I will request the online audience, please start, dropping in your questions. We are going to read 3 questions for each candidate on your end also. So as we do that, and let's hear also now from the students here. If you have the first question, that goes to candidate Conrad.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Malili Ezra Musunji, pursuing the Bachelor of Nursing Science in my 2nd year. My question goes to Comrade Conrad. It's simple. I remember picking with you nominations for GRC, and you, GRC of Ruharo Chianja. You picked a nomination with us. So after a while, we see you coming up for Guild presidency. In continuation to the question, it's simple. My question is, and I have heard you being vivacious about the constituency. For me, to ask this and for you to clarify, was that not a political move for you to create the Ruharo Chianja constituency, because there is no way that it benefits the students of mechanical and industrial engineering students, and you have said it as an achievement for that cohort of those students from Chihumuro. So I want you to clarify more about that, being a GRC and coming as Guild president, and in addition of you saying that Ruharo Chianja was an achievement for those students of mechanical and industrial engineering.
Okay, thank you very much. The question is, Ruharo Chianja constituency advocacy, was it an achievement or merely, a political move? Let's hear from another student asking Comrade Conrad.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Kabonero Calvin, civil engineer in Gear 3. My question for Conrad is, he has talked about a lot of MOUs, private entities, partnering with private entities, but what we want to do, what Kenneth's plan is to reduce the cost on students. So my question is, how is he planning to have a student pay for all these MOUs, after having all these MOUs with the private entities? How is he planning to have students pay for all these, subscribing to all these entities, to have their transport? Yet Kenneth already suggested that the guild van, which will already be running on guild fees, that the students have already paid to be transporting students, and about another entity to transport students. Yet students are already using private means to transport themselves. I don't understand what he's talking about.
Okay, thank you very much. The relevancy of you advocating for private, means of transport versus the guild van that your opponent is actually proposing. The final question to Comrade Conrad.
My name is Nwandinda Ans Roni, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. First of all, I want to thank two comrades, Mr. Impa Kenneth and Mr. Conrad, for having stood here and stand on the big positions to hold the biggest office in the students' leadership. I thank you for that. My question to you, Mr. Conrad, we believe leadership comes with the social life of the leader on top of other factors. So I'll be very brief to you. Mr. Conrad, do you believe that personal discipline is essential for a public office, like the head office of student leadership? How do you demonstrate that in your daily life? Before they dismiss the people who are inside, people were accusing you of being a drunkard, and that is a social part of you. So, do you think excessive consumption of alcohol will be a hindrance to your leadership? Or should you say do not do that? How are you ready to beat all that? Because it is already saturating in the students' body. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Comrade, did you get that question? Okay, thank you very much. Now, in the interest of time, you will allow me, candidates also. I will read 3 questions for each of you from online so that when you take on the podium, you answer all at once, okay? I will start with, okay. Colleagues on online, please, you could be able to please forward these questions. I will start with Isaac Oloka. You say, I want to inquire from Comrade Kenneth, the exact dark corners of mile 3 where you installed lights apart from the highway lights. That's a question number 1 from, for you, Comrade Kenneth. Another one is coming from Ainembabazi Catherine, also to Comrade Kenneth. And she says, Kenneth, what did you do as a prime minister before asking? No. Well, we are going to skip this because he already answered what he achieved as a guild prime minister. I will want to give that opportunity to another question, that targets him. Scrolling through a bit to get questions, that go to Kenneth. Okay, this is Nash. Nash, you might want to give us your real name, but he says, Kenneth, we can't be sure that you can't quit from the guild office. So is there a reason as to why we should really trust you? I think that again gets to be relevant. This one is going to Comrade Conrad from Niwahereza Nixon. Where do you see must in the next 3 to 5 years under your leadership? Well, he has only 1 year to lead. The other one is from Ahabwe Edwin. Also, it goes to you. Oh my God, most of the questions are actually just, kind of repetitive. Edwin was asking, I am seeing drugs filling the chat. Is it true that Mr. Conrad is a drug addict? I think you really want to clear that. Comrade Agri says, the question goes to Mr. Conrad. Describe a time you made an unpopular decision for the greater good. How did you handle the backlash? Do I repeat? Describe a time you've made an unpopular decision for the greater good, how did you handle the backlash? Okay. How many so far for you, Conrad? How many do you have there? Oh, okay. However, we need to agree that the question on drug addiction is similar to what was asked earlier. And so you'll allow me add you this very question. Comrade this is from Rob Sport. Okay, this has no name, but someone that runs Rob Sport and Electronics Center, I think must be a student also from MUST, community. He says, first he puts university project. Then he says, Conrad, why have you influenced the disqualification of Kitone Barnabas? We are aware that you wanted to come as GRC. Why the sudden change to guild presidency? I think that really gets to be a valid question for you there. Comrade Kenneth, you have how many questions from online? 2? So we need one more for Comrade Kenneth. And this is coming from Comrade Kamkama Osbat. He says, Ken, students are double spending on internet through both fees and private bundles. What is your specific plan and timeline to ensure that no student has to buy private data for research while on campus? I think, ladies and gentlemen, we'll allow our candidates to go for these questions. They have a total of 6 questions for each, and we are going to allocate at least 1 minute for each question, and that means that in the next 6 minutes, you will be able to give us or answer the questions. Right after that, we will be able to be nearing the closure of today's debate. Thank you. Who wants to go first? Okay, thank you very much. Comrade Kenneth wants to go first for that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator. And thank you, the mass community, for such good questions. The first question that came from my fellow honorable in the House, Ian, the outgoing regime, is mainly about partisan politics at campus. That last year I supported an UP candidate, and why this year come under NRM. Thank you for such an insightful question. But I would like to intervene by saying that you have had videos of me discouraging partisan politics at campus. And therefore, I am not an advocate of partisan politics at campus. But me supporting the NUP candidate, that was last year, he achieved office and he has not had a successful regime, and mainly because I would like to also educate you that the world out there is not receptive to opposition. That is a bitter fact. And as a guild president who really wants to serve to the best of mass students' interests, I saw a good chance here that if I present myself as a candidate who is part of the government, I'll be listened to. My voice will be heard in different public institutions, especially when I'm lobbying for students. For example, if I'm lobbying for internship placements, say maybe in Ministry of Works, which we believe it is a public institution, I'll be listened to and I'll be given a first hand as a guild president under my party. Then the other question that came from, I've forgotten the name, but the question about whether I withdrew from the race. The question was like I endorsed a candidate and withdrew from the race. I would like to advise my fellow here to first of all read the notice that I released and comprehend. I did not endorse any candidate, and it was clearly stated, and I clearly stated that I hold a neutral position in this guild race. So after you have read through and after that comprehension, you will come to discover that a neutral position means I'm neither in the race nor out of the race. And this neutral position is a platform that I have really taken to continue with the race. And I would love to inform you that leadership is always about strategy, vision, timing, and then the courage to act in matters that matter the most. This was a strategy of me to emerge the best candidate in the race. Thank you very much. Then about how will I ensure accountability and transparency, especially, she talked about, that this is from Evelyn. She talked about emails not being so reliable. I would like to also educate you, Madam Evelyn, that emails are an official communication channel. That if communication has been passed through emails and you don't get the communication, then we don't hold, we are not held accountable for that, because it is an official communication channel. If emails do not serve to your interests, then all GRCs have different groups for their constituencies, and I believe how I will be transparent enough, these GRCs will be able to deliver the information back to their constituencies through WhatsApp groups, because those are the two communication channels that we have as must students. None other than that, then there is no other communication channel that can be used, especially to deliver your accountability or transparency to the students. Thank you very much. Then about, if I might answer the online questions, there's a question that came from Isaac Oloka about where are the corners of mile 3 where I was able to install these lights. People at mile 3 can bear me witness that I was able to partner with Honorable Rukali, and he brought some of the lights, and they are in the dark corners of mile 3. You can bear me witness, Honorable.
Please proceed.
Thank you very much. There is another question that came from Nash about reasons why you should trust me. The reasons that I gave why people were raising questions of why I sent in a resignation notice, and it was mainly because I was seeking accountability and transparency, which was lacking in this previous regime. And this sets me at a clear front that Kenneth Arimpa can really is an accountable leader and a transparent leader who delivers information back to his constituency. Then about the more reasons of trusting me, I think I hold the best agenda of the real solutions agenda, because I'm not here to narrate stories, but rather to give real solutions to the mass students. Then the last question that came from Kama Osbat about double spending on internet. We have internet providers, private internet providers. I don't know whether he was meaning on campus or in residential places. But if it was on campus, over the days off campus,
I do not remember that being that exact. The question was, students are double spending. They pay functional fees, for instance, but again have to, actually they were in the question. It ends.
Yeah, I've gotten the question.
Yeah, he links it to research. He was asking, why should I, load a bundle yet I'm working on my research.
So, answering to that question about double spending on internet, having been some leader who's pushing for a real action, real solutions agenda, I will not promise heaven and earth here, because these hostels are not accredited. If they were accredited hostels, then they would have EduRoom, they would be part of the university premises. So if they are not credited, how then can we install EduRoom on someone else's premise? Thank you very much.
Are you saying that on campus?
No, off campus.
Yeah, that I get.
Yes.
But are you saying that while on campus, there's no need for me to load another, that we have insufficient, we have sufficient...
while on campus, maybe as a guild president, I'll be in partnership with some of these private internet providers, because back in the days we used to have our must internet, which used to serve us. But then when EduRoom came in the first days of its service, it did not really, it was reliable, but right now it is not all that reliable. So I would suggest that if we can get in touch with some of these internet providers, such that on campus they can as well install these routers for these students to be able to do their research at a fee. Because if EduRoom is not all that reliable, why then not subscribe? I believe in real actions, not just promises.
Okay, thank you very much. And that was candidate Kenneth, responding to students' questions. And we now have an opportunity to hear from Comrade Conrad.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I would start off from question 1 about the GRC nomination form. Just like any other politician or any other student who believes in themselves and they believe in their solutions to lead the society, I advocated for the reinstatement of Roharo Chianja constituency, to advocate for the security of the students and their needs in their guild house. However, after knowing that I had accomplished this, an opportunity came up. Why would you shoot for the rabbit when there is an elephant? Why would you shoot for a rabbit when there is an elephant? Why would you shoot for a rabbit when there is an elephant? I believe I'm a leader with solutions that can impact positively the students of Mbarara University of Science and Technology, and that's why I stepped up immediately and stood for guild presidency.
Okay.
That was question 1. Question 2, it was about MOUs. How are we going to have students to pay for all these MOUs? I didn't accommodate any MOUs that it was one MOU that I brought where students were supposed to pay. That is transport. I suggested that students can contribute a small amount on top of paying their functional fees so that we can get a deal with a private entity to transport us to Chihumuro, because I believe this is a feasible and achievable goal. That is the only MOU that I believe students are going to pay for. And it is coming with this security, it is coming with safety. We have had several accidents on the highway of Bushenyi Kasese, students heading to campus. If students are in a coaster for a private entity, because these are things that we are seeing at Makerere University. These are policies that are working, isn't it? Why can't we bring them on board? They can also work for us. You see, a student is paying, but on top of paying transport, they are paying for their safety and assurance to reach the university and attend their lectures in time. Question number 3.
Let's try to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question number 3. Yes, I accept that I have a social life. I have a social life. I socialize with my friends. Even the person who has asked me the question, we socialize together. If it means touching a bottle of beer, we have touched it together. I've touched it together with him. Has it changed his personal discipline? Has it changed his thinking and his articulation of ideas? Can we bring up a mental test to check us if we are really okay, if we are really drug addicts because we socialize? Because I know all university students socialize. So just like any other university student, I socialize and I am not an addict.
Okay.
I'm not an addict. And then, to clarify on that question, Mr. Sankara, you were very clear that the debate guidelines were clear that we are discussing university issues, not personal issues. Because I'm answering 3 and 4 at the same time. Someone said I influenced the disqualification of Chitone Barnabas, isn't it? These are NRM games. Come on. This is why I'm here as an independent candidate. I do not see how me, the humble me, Finomcha Conrad, from Kazo, Kanoni, get to influence the academic registrar's office to kick a student out of the race. Maybe I'm endorsed by God.
Okay.
Because I'm here and the opportunity is up for grab.
Okay.
I'm an independent candidate. This is an NRM game. Then the second last question. Where do you see MUST in my term of rule? Because the person who asked 3 years, isn't it? And the term is for 1 year. This is why I see MUST. I see MUST as a community whereby the guild is so close and much in touch with the students. I see MUST in a position whereby students are submitting their requests and they are getting heard right out from the guild house up to the university council.
Okay.
I'm looking at a guild house whereby solutions, practical solutions are being presented to students and the feedback is being presented to the students. The students are seeing how the budgets are flowing. They are seeing how their money is being spent. They are seeing how the priorities are being made. That is where I see MUST in my regime.
Okay.
Then the last question,
please.
was describe your unpopular decision and what it brought about the retaliation. For this, I would like to respond. That was it. That was your question, isn't it? Because the one who asked it is here.
That was online.
No, it's the one. It's the one. It's the one who asked it. Anyway, an unpopular decision that you can make, like I have ever made in my life. I'm sorry, this is personal. I never wanted to talk about personal issues, but I missed an examination, I missed a test, and it brought up a decision of getting a retake. I missed the test because I was hospitalizing my dad. I could not leave at a very point of time. Of course, he needed me so much. He was in for surgery. I could not go away. So I missed, I got a retake, and a retake, which I did in the last academic year, and I finished it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And before you leave, I have 2 papers as we near the end, because the next segment both of you will be giving us your closing remarks. But before you give us your closing remarks, each one of you will have 1 rapid question, which you just need to answer under 30 seconds. It's either 1 word or something. So each one of you will pick any paper, and you tell me the number written on the paper that you selected, and you should be able to have that come in as your question. Okay, please, yeah. And feel free to take your seat. Which number is it? Number 2 for Comrade Conrad and Comrade Kenneth. Which number do you have? Number 3. So, ladies and gentlemen, naniwagwa abakwise na tureba hatayari West tulion tuijirira enkwijiro ya eji debate yabereye ekiganiro cy'abantu munonge cyabashiri aha kugezaho kwetegereza ni muntu ki obakubasa kuba naba ari umuntu owu abeji bambara University of Science and Technology bakubasa kufuta mu bwesije okubebembera omunchureji ekwatirire nabo abari kubana bebembera abeje kibari kweta guild leadership kandi akanyaka katuhereza hakagisha kabeji nangwa abo bari koro muri University of Science and Technology kwetegereza ni muntu ki obashire kubana baterera karuru umusande yaza kwija akabasa kuba nayibembera beji ahabwenchiro yaza kugarukaho turiyo tuzakuza aha ka segment akutubura abase kubana tweta rapid fire round konkana bwanyuma yecho ahu buri omara abase kubana garuka mechi buze ki omubutikitiki butakurenga 30 rero nabwanyuma agumize matuhereza kibari kweta closing remarks okwaro kugira ekiganiro eki rero nabwanyuma tubase kubana tuhendera. So number 2 for Comrade you chose number 2, right? Number 2 is what is one admirable quality you see in your opponent? So you will answer that and then continue and give your closing remarks when the time comes, okay? One admirable quality you see in your opponent. You chose number 3. Number 3 is, Comrade Kenneth, if you lose this election, what constructive role will you still play for MUST? You're going to answer that question, but also give us your concluding remarks. Who wants to go first? Thank you very much, Comrade Conrad, giving us his closing remarks. Thank you.
One quality that I can like from Kenneth is his cunning. For a politician, that is an admirable character. He's untimely. He can change anytime. That's what I like about him. Anytime he can change his decisions. That is what I like about him. He's also good for a politician. Yeah.
Are you saying you're about to adopt that? Is that something you're adopting?
No, I don't adopt it, but I mean, it is what it is. Okay. It is what I like about him.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
then,
thank you very much.
My closing remarks. These would be my closing remarks. I would like to tell the gallant Masterians out there that we are not here to make promises like other people have always done. We are here to advocate for students. We want our students to be heard. We want our solutions to be practical. We want people that are giving us feasible goals. People have promised things day by day. I don't want to stand here and promise things. I'm here to walk the talk.
Thank you.
Solution-based agenda is my manifesto for students advocacy. I want to make sure students are heard right from down to the guild, up to the university council. Those small things that are disturbing our students day by day, food, small things that can be achieved. Why can't we get them done? Then we shall look at the big things as the regime is going on. And I would promise the gallant Masterians this, that I'm going to be a leader who is going to listen and act, because I believe in leadership with impact. I believe leadership only makes sense when there is impact, because all the leaders have intentions. All the intentions are always good, but what impact have they left behind? Thank you so much for your time. Tuinomcha Conrad is my name, mechanical engineering in my 3rd year, solution-based agenda for students advocacy. I'm requesting for your support and your vote come 24th on Friday. Thank you for listening to me. Endorsed by God.
Thank you. Thank you very much, candidate Conrad there with closing remarks. And now, candidate Kenneth, in his rapid questions or rapid answers, Comrade Conrad actually said that what he admires from the gentleman, part of that is that the gentleman sometimes changes a lot. But I want to remind you that he had earlier clarified that all that you're calling changing is actually part of his political plan. Thank you. Yes, start with your rapid question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modulator. About the question of if I lost the race, the guild race, what constructive ideas would I bring on board? First of all, I did not stand to lose, and I don't believe that I will lose this race. But if it all happens, I believe that I can serve the mass students community even as a normal student. As a former deputy prime minister, I still have the platform to really advocate for these key points of my manifesto. For example, I cannot sleep and wait to see us keep in this era of voting physically. Yet some other students are not represented in the voting process. Whether I lose or not, I can promise the mass community that the coming regime will be voted in through online. So those are some of the constructive ideas that I wish to bring on board. Then about my concluding remarks, there is a great leader, an African leader, that once said, the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. I beg to object by saying the youth of today are the leaders of today. And I present myself to you, dear my fellow youth, that I, Kenneth Arimpa, is the best candidate for this race, 2026, 2027. And I therefore call upon you, Garant Masterians, that let's not repeat the mistakes that we've done in the past. We have really voted leaders into power out of excitement, but I believe in the students' right of their propagation of the right candidate fit for this seat, and I believe that it's none other than Kenneth Arimpa. Come Friday, please come through and support Kenneth Arimpa for Guild President. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Comrade and candidate Kenneth there also closing today's debate. And you who has been watching, that is what you could be able to initially hear from the candidates. And the Electoral Commission, of course, assured us earlier that later this week, I think specifically Tuesday, we will have another opportunity to hear from them in an arrangement called Hot Seat. And in that, we should have an opportunity to hear more from these two. Otherwise, the mandate goes back to the students and only the students of Mbarara University of Science and Technology to make the decision that will actually give us the next Guild President for Mbarara University of Science and Technology. Womulebi witu awabana kwisa notreba aha tayari West ni kwebaza mnonga okubasa kuba waba okutereza kile kawe okabasa kuba no kuratira kiganiro eki nokwetegereza n'omuntu kinu wabwokoki wakubasa kuba aliyo naza kutwara entebe y'obwa Guild President ahabwitendekero eri Mbarara University of Science and Technology. Omushuganisa n'abandi Sankara bya Ruhanga hanu ahari Innovation Village Rwebikona Mbarara twabatwagirwe aba Sibo Technologies and Mobile App eriyo muri Mbarara hanu nobasa kuba notumisacu cyona cyo kwasa kuba no yenda yaba nemere yaba ni nonda kugura kintu cyona hanu muri Mbarara haza nibisha kuba bakujemurira hona hori kurugirira okorabe no bukosa application yetu twabatwagirwe n'aba Creative Campus aba nabone bashangwa aha Innovation Village mu bintu bitarimo na bimwe kubangure minyeto bikwatsinda karimagezi n'ebindi byona tuzakubashaba mwebare mnonga okugumiza muri mutureba kandi nyabura mutarugaho. Thank you very much. We are calling it a night. Thank you.